Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
We're also recording the session, so I also remind people, you don't want to share things in the recorded session that are not public for your organization.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much. Our agenda today. So, of course, first of all, we're going to start off with some introductions from Britta and myself. And then the topics we're going to discuss today focus, of course, on employee center, the taxonomy and the widgets, and employee experience, of course, a big topic which is all related to employee center. We're all going to deep dive into it. What does it mean? Because I can imagine that for people that don't know employee center, some of these topics are like, wait, what? So we're going to explain that, don't worry. And of course, we're going to end the session with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to answer them. As well, during the session, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A. I think there's a special option for that in Zoom. So feel free to do that. So let's continue into the introduction. I will start myself. So I'm Wessel van Enk. Like I said, I'm located in the Netherlands. I'm a solution consultant for ServiceNow. I work with ServiceNow as a platform for 10 years. So this year is actually my 10th anniversary. Yeah, woohoo! It's absolutely great, and I've seen a lot of the platform. The last couple of years, I mostly focused on HR service delivery, employee experience, and doing implementations with a lot of different companies. It's a really great journey so far, and we see that we can really make a big difference with the product for a lot of companies. Yeah, we'll dive into that today. And then, yeah, Britta.
Yep. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Britta Koch. I've been with ServiceNow for a little over 15 years and actually was a customer before that. So I've worked in the field helping customers install our platform as an engagement manager for about 10 years. And then I moved on to our leading practices team, which wrote a lot of the content that was on the Customer Success Center. And most recently, I've been working on some projects in marketing. And I know that's kind of an evil word, but not really. To help with adoption of our products, and most recently with the community. And one of the things that I really love doing is running these Ask the Expert sessions where we can bring pertinent content to those of you who are actively working in the platform and hopefully get some of your questions answered.
Yeah, thank you very much. What is the goal of this webinar today? I think we already mentioned it a little bit, but what we're going to discuss today is to understand how Employee Center of ServiceNow can increase your company's employee experience. It's a very big topic, especially in the last few years, where we've seen a lot of different shifts happening globally or locally. And we see that people are just really more diverse, working in different locations, working remotely, not full-time in the office anymore. So that's changing a lot for a lot of companies. And Employee Center can really play a big part in that to make sure that the employee experience is really about the employees of your company and not only anymore about how the company wants things to be. Before we start, I always like to start with a little quote, and I think this is quite accurate if we look at the employee experience. At no other time in history have we had this much opportunity to reinvent work, and most importantly, to make it stick. Because I definitely believe in that current day, we need to be able to provide the help and support and the services to all employees within a company, regardless of where they work from, not only anymore from the office, but also from home or wherever they are working. And that's something that a lot of companies still are looking for on how can we actually do that and what's the best solution for that. But it's really something that is already a big topic nowadays, but I think it's going to be even more in the upcoming years. And to dive more into that, why is this happening? Today's state of work more complex than we ever had before. So there's, of course, big challenges with a lot of companies. We've seen economic shifts. We've seen dispersed workforces, generational shifts, of course, and digital complexity. It's getting more and more complex every day, especially if you look now into, yes, I'm going to mention it even in this webinar, AI. It's continuously growing. Everybody's seen the last 10 years how many things have been created and upgraded and made better. And I think if we look at the last 10 years, it's even a bigger change than the 20, 30 years before that in the amount and the speed that things are growing. And it's very difficult to keep up with that. Especially for companies, larger companies that need to make sure that all their employees are satisfied and happy. It's really a big thing. So we actually want to know, where are you today joining us? Where are you in your employee-centered journey? And let's put your answers in the chat, please. Just curious for us to see.
Yeah, and if you're not seeing the poll coming up, it could be because you have pop-up blockers turned on. So please make sure you check that out. So we've got a wide range here. Some are just curious, some are exploring, some are currently implementing, and one person or one individual, they're running a mature implementation. So that's
Cool.
we're kind of across the board here. So anybody else want to answer here before we take the poll down? We've got about half of you participating so far. And I'm an overachiever. I want 100% out here. So don't buy, these are anonymous. So it's okay wherever you are. All right. All right. Well, I will let you continue, Vessel.
All right, so at least from the answers that we have, we see that there's a lot of people today that have a different point on where they are today in their employee-centered journey, which is great. Maybe we can share some things afterwards. But let's go into the current state of employee experience of a lot of companies. If my slides will work, yes, they will. So if we look at the current state of employee experience with a lot of companies nowadays, it's the experience you see here on the slide on the left. Mostly there is a central intranet page or some other tool where people are logged in every day, every morning to start up their day, see what is happening. And from there, based on their questions, if it's related to IT or HR or finance or the help desk or where do I need to book a flight, those kind of things, you are being redirected to all kind of different tools. And sometimes from there even to other tools or forms or any kind of things. So you're being sent from A to B and etc. It's quite long. I've worked for a lot of companies that really complicated a lot of things. It was just an intranet page with links to other applications, and there you had to go into deep dive yourself. And basically, you have to figure it out yourself. How does it work? I don't know. I've never worked with this tool before. When you just join the company. So yeah, that's the current experience a lot of people have. But what we actually want on the right side, the expectation of a lot of people nowadays, is that they have one place where they can find all of their answers on their questions. I want to have a place where I can see all the steps, all the things, all the questions I ever asked, all the tasks that I need to do, any approvals I may have to do as a manager. I want to start my day, get into a portal or on a screen or whatever on a mobile app, and I want to see this is what is expected of me today. And if I have a question related to my payslip, or I want to order a laptop, or I have a question for finance, I want to be able to do that from a single place, and wherever that goes afterwards, that should not be my concern. My concern is, as an employee, I want to see one place where everything comes together. I want to be able to follow up on it, and I want to follow the status of the cases that I have, for example. And that's really what Employee Center does. So that's what a lot of people are currently interested in. Some people mentioned in the poll, I'm curious. This is something really the strong point of Employee Center. Because what does it deliver? It delivers a unified digital experience, regardless if you're an employee, a manager, an agent who fulfills all the cases, incidents, tasks. If you're related to IT, HR, legal, it doesn't really matter. Even if you're from home, in the office, or on your mobile device, it's all the same. You have the same experience for every employee, for every persona, because we see as well that a lot of intranets or portals currently are designed for employees, and a lot of managers think, yeah, but I have a different role as well. Where can I find my dedicated information that's specifically for me as a manager? But on the other side, there's also some places that are really fully focused on managers, while a lot of people forget sometimes that managers are actually also employees. So they need to have access to the same information as the people that they are managing for themselves. And that's something that is really the power of the Employee Center. And that's what we're going into later in the demo as well. So how does ServiceNow do that? Well, on top, we have the different employee personas. Below that, we have the unified experiences. Today, we're going into the portal part. So what does the portal offer in combination with the different personas? But on the portal, you also, for example, have the chatbot or the virtual agent, as ServiceNow calls it. You can have email interactions, welcome experiences, and all those things you can find back in the Employee Center. It's multi-department, it's knowledge and search that you can do on Employee Center as well, communications and content, and what is recently, I think it's a couple of years now, it's a journey management. So you can have full journeys on the Employee Center, really from start to finish, and configure it within your company for every department that is part of this journey. Take, for example, one of the bigger cases is onboarding, of course. It's a big thing, of course, if you're just joining a company, you want to make sure that everything is arranged. From Employee Center, if a manager starts a journey, there's a whole process already automated or configured to make sure that on day one, everything is arranged for you, and they can track the progress on the Employee Center wherever they are. They do that via workflows, of course, with AI, low code, analytics. There's a lot of reporting that you can show on Employee Center as well. And of course, integrations. Think about integrations with your HR systems like SAP SuccessFactors or Workday, but also with Salesforce or Oracle. All those things are mostly possible. And for a lot of things, there are plugins available on the ServiceNow store for that as well. So just to give you a little sneak peek of what is all possible with Employee Center, I have a very short video that I want to show you today. So yeah, enjoy.
Oh, it looks like
All
you can
right.
take over the world with Employee Center.
Sorry.
It
Yeah.
looks like you
Sorry.
can take over the world with Employee Center. Look at all that functionality.
Well, maybe you can. Let's give it a try. Um, But I think this video is pretty short, but it does give you the on high level what Employee Center actually offers, and there's a lot in there. I think if we really want to discuss all the things that Employee Center offers, we can fill maybe an entire week.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. We'll just keep it within this hour. But there is a lot. Like you saw in the video, a lot of content that you can show campaigns, but the connections to other platforms and integrate with those platforms, but show the information on the Employee Center, making sure that people don't have to switch to all the other applications. And technically, we can make that all work. And I think that's really the power of the ServiceNow platform, and then showing it to your employees via the Employee Center. I think a lot of people, if you work with ServiceNow for quite a bit, then most people will recognize the term service portal. If we look at how ServiceNow started 20 years ago, then as an IT service management platform, the service portal was the way to go. That was the dedicated IT portal. But now, in the last couple of years, when ServiceNow introduced Employee Center as the place for a multi-department functionality and not only for IT anymore, there's a big shift, but also some changes. But what is available out of the box? What is the difference? And why use Employee Center or Employee Center Pro? Out of the box, there's a lot of things that are possible. If we look at some of the things we're going to discuss, the taxonomy, for example, and with taxonomy, we mean the menu structure. So if you look on the page, you see on the right screenshot, you see on the top, HR, IT, workplace, legal. So those are all the different departments that are configured in this example as departments within the company that are using Employee Center and using the functionalities out of it. Within that, we have a whole menu structure. So we have the topics that are related to the department, and then we can even define subtopics if we want to dive into it even more. So basically what it does, it's already filtering a lot of things for employees to make their search easier on the portal. Previously, we had a big search bar in the middle, as you see on the left screen. How can we help? And you need to search. And the search configuration was sometimes quite difficult to make sure that actually people get the right content they were searching for. If it was a request form or a knowledge article, it was a little bit tricky sometimes. Now that's of course a lot easier if you can already pre-filter a lot of things that you're looking for. If I'm looking for something that's related to my onboarding, I click on HR, I go to the onboarding topic, and I see everything that is related to onboarding, all the things that I might need during my onboarding. And it can be request forms, it can be knowledge articles, it can be applications that are might not being integrated, but I have a quick link towards that other application. And it's all in a single place. So it's very easy to find, and I don't have to search multiple times to do multiple actions. What's the difference? Well, like I mentioned, from a single department to multi-department functionalities. It's also a little bit upgrade in the UI. So the UI is actually quite easy to configure. A lot of people want to make changes on the coding and the styling, which is fine. But if you look what ServiceNow already offers out of the box, it's actually quite easy with a configurator, which is low code. So a lot of people can do it themselves without very hard coding development. You can make some easy changes, the coloring, the logos, the fonts on the portal. So there's a lot of things that you can actually already do as a start to make a great start and a great impression before the developers start working on fine-tuning the small things. Why use Employee Center and what's the difference with Employee Center or Employee Center Pro? Yeah, like I said, it's now, if we look in the 21st century, Employee Center is really going to give you the experience that a lot of employees are looking for. It's easy. It gives you all the things that you need if configured well, of course. But it's up to your company. It offers you out of the box a lot of functionalities that you can really use and make it easier for your employees. By default, Employee Center is there with all their components and widgets and the menu structure or the taxonomy, like we mentioned. But ServiceNow also has the Pro version, which is really enhancing more the content of the Employee Center. So if you want to start campaigns or sharing content or specific news with your employees, then the Pro version is a lot better. You can do on your front page, on your home page, you can put up campaigns on a big banner for, I don't know, at the end of the year, get ready for some Christmas excitements, those kind of things. You can target it, not only during time. So I want to say, okay, it's a Christmas announcement. I only want it to be available from December 1st until January 1st, but I can also target it to specific audiences within the company. I can say, hey, I have a campaign. I want the finance department. They have a party specifically for finance. I want to make sure that the finance department is actually seeing that. I want to start up a campaign. So we start up a campaign with a big banner, get ready for the finance department party. And I say as a criteria, only people that work in the department finance are able to see this banner, meaning that only those people, if they log in, they will see the banner. Same thing, for example, with new hires. Of course, ServiceNow offers a new hire role within the HR part. And you can say, I want to have specific content that only new hire people are seeing. People are just going to onboard. How do I make the most of my onboarding period, for example? So that's really the big difference in it. Of course, we have some examples, so get ready. I have some examples from other customers that are using Employee Center. And just as a small note, these are a little bit customized, but actually most of them use the out-of-the-box functionalities, but they're just tweaking a little bit of the CSS, so the styling code. For example, this one, and it looks entirely different than the screenshot we just had. But there's a lot of things that you can create yourself or configure yourself, I should say, to make it more up to whatever your company is looking for. Of course, there's a default set of settings and widgets that ServiceNow offers, and I will show them to you later on. But you can fine-tune those based on the requirements and the needs of your company. The contact widgets, the search, the specific departments that need to be laid out, or specific topics that need to be highlighted, those things can all be configured, and it's really up to whatever you want. Same with these examples. So you see that every company has its own structure, has its own way of working. And of course, those things are possible. You just need to know where do I need to do that. And you need to have somebody that knows exactly how that all works. Because if we really look at the customization part, we really don't, I would say, suggest it. There are a lot of out-of-the-box functionalities that ServiceNow offers that are really good enough for the employee experience to enhance it within your company. Sometimes they might not be visible on the portal, but those are available in the configuration. So there's a lot of components or widgets, as ServiceNow calls them. They're actually available, but they're not on the pages or they're not showing. But that doesn't mean that they are not there. So before you start building your own widget and your component, although I know I've been a developer myself, it's very tempting to start and create your own widgets because that's cool. You can show off what you can do. Yes, of course it's cool, but it's going to cause you a little bit of an issue later on. Why? Because if you're going to customize a lot of widgets and things on the Employee Center, if you go and do an upgrade on ServiceNow, you might encounter some issues. Why? Because it's not part of the out-of-the-box package. So ServiceNow will give you a warning. Hey, I'm not recognizing this. What do you want me to do with it? And then you can say, okay, I want to keep it. Pretty easy. But still, it requires an action of you to do during your upgrading process. And if you do that more and more and more, of course, your pile of work is going to add up. And especially during upgrades, which normally people want pretty quickly, it's not helping. Plus, if you don't use the out-of-the-box widgets and maybe you copy it or you create something yourself, that means that if ServiceNow comes up with a brilliant enhancement, which mostly they do with every release, you're not benefiting from that. If you're using the out-of-the-box widgets, you'll benefit from every development and every enhancement that ServiceNow is doing themselves. So you don't have to do the thinking, or maybe the thinking sometimes is suggested towards ServiceNow, but not the development or the building yourself. And that really saves a lot of time. And not only during upgrades, but also the maintainability. I've worked within companies where portals have been customized, widgets have been customized, and the people that did it left. And there was no documentation, nothing. Which makes it really difficult to keep these things up, to upgrade them, to work with them, to make adjustments, because I don't know how it's built. And then you have to look really into the code and really deep dive into it to make it work again. While compared to if you're using the out-of-the-box widgets, most of them, to all developers that are using with ServiceNow, they are known. So they know how these widgets work, they know how to adjust them, and 9 out of 10, they're common widgets. So if you say something to them, I want to change this, they know exactly where to change it. And with custom widgets, it's not the case because they really have to deep dive into it. So it's it's saving you actually a lot of time if you're using this. So overall, yes, use as much as possible the out-of-the-box functionalities. And of course, I'm not saying you cannot customize at all, because in some cases, if you really have something that ServiceNow doesn't offer and you really want to, sure, but make sure that you keep it simple. Because especially for yourself and the team that you're working with for the upgrades, but also the maintainability long term, try to keep it simple. Any questions so far?
No questions so far. We got a shy group here.
All right, no worries. Yeah, let's get ready for demo time. I will actually end my slideshow and I will move into the ServiceNow instance. If just a second.
Demo, so the computer always moves slowly when you're trying to do a demo on a webinar, right?
Yeah.
Without fail.
I'm not even allowed to get out of this screen anymore.
Well, while Vessel's working on that, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those into the Q&A, or you can raise your hand. We'll try to answer all the questions that you have before the end of the call. If we don't, I usually post a little blog with the recording and the deck so that you can get any of your unanswered questions taken care of.
I think it's up.
Yep, I see it.
All right, great. Yes, so I will actually make it a little bit more visible for a lot of people. So welcome to the homepage of the Employee Center. As you can see, a lot of things are familiar with the screenshot that I just showed you, but of course, with the last few upgrades, there have been some adjustments and some enhancements, so it actually looks a lot better nowadays. On the left upper side, you see the logo. So this is something that you can easily adjust, of course, to your own company logo. And below that, the taxonomy or the menu structure within Employee Center. And if I click on Human Resources, I see that there is a menu with some topics and some subtopics. So I know that day and time, benefits, onboarding, employment information. Within benefits, I can search already for health and wellness, leave of absence, for example. But if I want to search all HR related items, I can also do that by just pressing the button Browse Human Resources. The same for technology or IT. So we have hardware, software, and network. You can already pre-filter on a lot of things. And additionally, there is a manager hub, a specific item for managers within companies, where they can track their team members. They have a specific library that is dedicated to managers. So really make that distinguishment between an employee and a manager. As a manager, I want to have access to a certain part, certain information that is specifically to me as a manager. But on the other side, I'm still an employee as well. So I want to be able to see and search for the same things as all my people do. So there is a dedicated page as well for that. And I'm going to show it to you, don't worry. On the right upper side, you have my task. So you get an overview of your task that actually currently are assigned to you, something that you need to follow up on, something you need to do, can be an approval, or it can be a task that is part of, for example, an onboarding journey. You need to insert some of your employee information, those kind of tasks that might be assigned to you. You can all find them here. My request, all the requests that you have submitted as an employee towards the IT departments or HR, any questions or laptop requests that you have done, you can find them all there. Favorites. So if you are into one of those topics for HR or IT and you really see a knowledge article that you think, hey, this is interesting, I might need that information later on. There's actually a little heart button on the right upper side of the article. If you click on it, it's actually saved as a favorite, similar to what you do in your browser. If you want to save a website, you mark it as your favorite to have a shortcut to basically browse to it easier afterwards. Same thing with your favorites. If you favorite an article or a request form or a catalog item, as most people know it within ServiceNow, you can find them back easily there. It's in your header. You don't need to search for them again. You just go to my favorites and you can resubmit them. The journeys. This is something that has been created within the last couple of years. Journeys is specifically for HR. So you can really create an employee journey, an onboarding, an offboarding, parental leave of absence. You saw some of the things in the video as well, where the whole process is detailed and configured from start to finish, what needs to happen in different stages of the process, and we can automate it. So managers can go to the journey page and they can start up a journey, fill in some basic information, and the journey automatically starts, and everything that is related to that and is configured to that specific journey will automatically be started. Besides that, you see the little picture where you can go into your profile, or sometimes as an admin, I can impersonate a lot of people to see, hey, how does it look for these people? Not available to most of the people. Impersonation is a specific role. And mostly available to admins on the platform. And of course, a logout, but let's not do that for now. On the right, you also have the tours, where you can set up and design specific tours. And what do I mean with a tour? For example, if you're a new employee, you start up your laptop for the first time within the company, and Employee Center is your first point of contact. By default, we can set up, hey, you can start a tour, and the tour actually explains to you how does this page work. So what I just did to you guys, it can be done by ServiceNow as well. So it can show you in different parts and different phases. Click here to go to HR. If you're looking for something, this is where the search bar is. If you want to have quick links, you see them on this part of the page. If you want to save and store your favorites, go there. So it's really a basic guide for a lot of people to make it easier for them to understand what this page is about, what it does, and where they can find certain things.
Hey, Vessel, we have had a
Yeah.
question come in from a tool, and he's curious what plugin is required to bring the human resources onto the tab there on this employee center view.
What does he exactly mean with on
Yeah,
the taxonomy here?
yeah, yeah.
Well, the plugin is actually the taxonomy. So if you have the plugins of Employee Center activated on your instance, there is a different plugin that is HR taxonomy. But also the default taxonomy is already activated with Employee Center Pro. So HR doesn't need to be included in it. You can also set up a taxonomy that is just for IT and for legal. I use HR and IT as an example because it's, I believe, one of the most common things that are working together on the platform. But it's not, it doesn't have to be there. If you don't have HR service delivery on your ServiceNow instance, it doesn't have to be there. You can just as easily just use it for IT. And not have HR. You can have any department you can think about. So it's a dedicated, a separate configuration where this is stored. But I know for HR there's a dedicated plugin for HR. I believe it's called HR Taxonomy, which is already giving you some examples as well and some data that can help you start up the taxonomy. But the taxonomy itself, you can all set this up. You have always a main level. So in this case, human resources or technology services. And then you have topics underneath. ServiceNow calls them topics. So in this case, hardware, software, network. And then those can have subtopics, computers, printers, and you can go on and on and on. Although you can go on and on and on, it will only by default show you the first two layers on the Employee Center. So yes, if I go, for example, into computers here, let's see, notes, it doesn't have any subtopics. But let's just go into the technology service, for example. If we open the full technology services for IT, I go onto this page, I get a welcome banner saying, hello, welcome to technology services. And the technical support is for your personal devices and shared workplace equipment. In here, I can see all the resources that are related to technology services or IT, all the requests, all the knowledge articles that are created and connected to this dedicated taxonomy or menu. I can filter on it. I can only want to see the articles, or I only want to see the requests that are related to this service. You can sort them by popular, by alphabetically, and of course, you can configure additional things if you want to. And I want to show it in a list, or I want to show it in a card view. And on the right side, like I mentioned, some quick links. If I want to reset my password, if I click on it, I directly go into a form that is going to reset my password. These things are, of course, customizable, or actually, I should say, configurable, before I'm using the wrong term. It's configurable. So you can set up these quick links however you want and to which one actually you want them to link to. But on top, if I think, oh, there are so many requests here because I have show more, there's tons of these kind of different request forms, and I actually don't know which I need, because I just want to have something related to software. I click on software on the top on the topic, and I go into the software part, which is actually already as a filter. So it's already filtering additionally to show me only the content that is being connected to software. And I can even filter more. So within software, there is an option. I have email accounts, access issues, softwares and application, software issues. So I can even deep dive and filter more and more and more. So these topics are actually filters, basically. I go into access issues, and then one remains. I have a password reset, which is, I guess, something I was looking for if I have access issues. So this filters already the thing that I want. Instead of me going here to access, or I can no longer log in. yeah, like I said, the search is sometimes pretty difficult to set up. And in this case, it's not helping me at all. It's something that needs to be configured, of course, which items are included in your search. But you can imagine if I already know what the problem is, I go into my menu and I see, hey, access issues. That's something that I actually encounter. I click on access issues and I can directly have the request form for my password reset. I click on it. Which application password do you need to have reset? I just click one. How you would like to be contacted with your password? I want to be contacted by email, fine by me, and I submit it, and that's it. And I can follow and track the progress of my case. Of course, I get an error in my demo instance. Always.
Never fails.
I'm directly routed to the record that has been created specifically for me based on the record that I just submitted. I have an overview. What did I do? What is the information that I provided? If I have attachments, I can even drop them on later on here. But I can track and follow the activity from here as well. If people make comments, I can track it from here. I can see it on the portal. I don't need to go anywhere else. I don't need to track my email. I can just simply go into my request on the right upper side, where I see all the requests that I have created. And here you see all requests. And I see here, this is new a minute ago. This is the incident that I just created. I click on it and I go back to the specific record and I can keep track of the progress. If we go back to the homepage, on the upper side, you see some of the content. So you can see here, there is content specifically for me. There's a banner, welcome back to the office. We got some resources to reintroduce you to the hybrid workplace. I can click on learn more because I'm interested. And it actually reroutes me to, in this case, a ServiceNow website that says, welcome to your new way of working. And it gives you additional information. So you can actually target all the employees within your company, or like I mentioned before, you can target specific or people within your company that you want to show or highlight something. So this is actually pretty useful. Instead of having the search bar really big in the middle of your screen, you can just have it here. Of course, always people want to have a search option. We cannot remove it. People like to search. And of course, sometimes it helps. Definitely now with AI search, and it's been added to Employee Center, it really makes it easier to help people search for certain things. You need to activate it, AI search on Employee Center separately. It's an option, it's a checkbox that you need to do. And it's a configuration and it's AI search, so it's learning. So something that's really, that you really need to think about. It's not going to be perfect from the start. It's really learning how do you search, how do your employees search for certain things. And based on that, it will actually learn and provide better search results on over time. So that's actually pretty helpful because it's based on whatever your employees are searching for. And it's basically what you want. You want to improve that experience. On the right side, you have an overview of your active items. In this case, I could go to my task. There's 4. And because it's such a small amount, I can see them all here as well. But as you can see as well on top, my request, something that I need to approve, is already overdue for 875 days, which makes me sure that as a manager, I didn't do my job very well. But it will actually show you the most urgent actions that you need to take as a manager or an employee on this site. So let's say I have 20 open tasks, but 3 are actually most urgent or are overdue, like one of these 3. It will show me those 3 here, so I can actually have easy access. And it's something that is basically there, it's in my face, so I cannot go around it. If it wasn't there, I can see, yeah, I have 4 tasks. Well, I'll see later what's it about. Now, I really have it directly available to me, and I see, oh yeah, I forgot. I still need to approve this request for Adrian because, well, he really needs that new laptop. So I can approve it, and the request can continue. You get an update, disapproved, you have approved the request, and you can continue. That's an approval, but for example, like I mentioned, it can also be a task. I still need to do my annual goals. I need to update them. I click on view details. I go into your task. I get an overview of what the task is about. I need to write the first draft of my goals, and I need to set up a meeting with my manager. It's a very small explanation, but it really helps me through my day, because I know what I need to do. If I've done it, mark is completed. The task disappears and the process continues. And what's even better, I can look back into the ones that I've completed. So I have a history of what I did. So if people come to me, well, Wessel, I'm waiting for a request and you should have approved it. I still don't have that approval. Where is it? Actually say, well, I've given that approval already last week. So what are you talking about? I can actually go into my completed task and see that I approved this request with a timestamp, and I can even show it to them like, hey, look, I've submitted this and I've approved it last week on the 28th. It's there. So it really helps you with your history as well. So it's not going somewhere into a black box and you cannot find it anymore.
So Vessel, we're getting
Yeah.
close up on time here, unfortunately. So I don't know if you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
try to wrap this up and then move on to some of the other great content you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to finish it off, my favorites, you can also add them as a component or a widget on the homepage. So not just in the menu structure in the on top, also here, and a lot of other places where you can add some content. And you can dedicate the content to where in the page it needs to be visible. Recommended for you, so things that specifically for you. This is where the favorite icon is. I want to favorite this item because I actually want to order that. If I refresh it, it will show up in my favorites. Applications, I can have some short links to applications that might be useful to me or that are set up for me. And if I click on it, I will be redirected directly to that application. And this might be useful because in the beginning I mentioned you want to integrate all of them with ServiceNow and show the information here. Sometimes it might not be possible or it might be too costly to do that integration, but still you want to have the people easy access from Employee Center towards that application. Then you can just put it here. And yes, I will go back to my presentation, otherwise.
I know that the demo is great, but you also have some great information about requirements gathering and best practices that I don't want.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I can talk about this for weeks. So it's just.
I think we could do a whole session just on the AI search component. That would be interesting.
I think so. Let's see. Which screen do you see now?
I see your presenter view.
It's not share. Now it's share screen 2. Yes. I didn't have that at the beginning. Now you see it full screen again.
Yes.
Right. Poll number 2. If you want to implement employee experience at your company, what are the 2 best practices when implementing employee journey?
Well, we got some votes for stay out of the box and figure the taxonomy. Stay out of the box seems to be pretty consistent. Customize the portal. We got 1 vote for that. Nothing to figure the menu based on your previous solution. So that's good because that's generally not the best way to go. Anybody else want to answer? I'll leave the poll up for a couple more seconds here, but it looks like the majority of you got the message, stay out of the box and use the strengths of the platform.
Yes, yes, definitely option B, stay out of the box and really use the strengths of the platform. There is a lot, and like I said, it might not even be visible, but it's there. So try to find it out and try to see if it's there before you're going to start build something yourself. You really might regret it later on. And yes, the second best practice, of course, is also to configure the taxonomy based on inputs from the business, because it's really about what does the business want? How do these departments want to offer their services towards their employees? So HR and IT can be different, but you really have an option if you're implementing Employee Center to start with a clean version. So don't just copy whatever you had in your previous solution, because it might work, but really go back to the other point, use the strength of the platform. I've seen so many different implementations where they just copy pasted whatever their previous solution was. And of course, it might work, but you're missing out on so many cool things that the platform actually offers, and you're paying for, but you're not using it, which is a really waste of your time, and can be a waste of the employee experience you want to offer to your employees within the company.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really something that you would be a tip from my side. Like I mentioned, I've done a couple of implementations. So actually what I want to share with you is the lessons learned that I had in the last couple of years. First of all, Employee Center and implementing it is more than just about ServiceNow. You want to set up connections to other platforms, maybe to enhance your employee experience. But really think about it. If you want to do those connections, they take time and effort as well. Some are available out of the box as a store application, but still you need to do some configuration. A lot of people think it's just plug and play. 9 out of 10, it might be, but you still need to do some basic configurations. So take it into account. It's going to take some time and effort to configure it properly. Second of all, there we have it again, and I don't think I can mention it more than I did today. Stay out of the box. I know that I've said it a lot. A lot of people say it within the ServiceNow community as well. But like I mentioned, it really helps your company to provide the needed experience. You can really face some issues if you decide to customize it. And simply copying what was there before, not looking at the strengths and the possibilities that the ServiceNow platform offers to enhance the experience. Really look into what the platform offers. Just don't copy paste whatever you had. Use it as an opportunity to reinvent what you want to provide as an employee experience. And last but not least, different audiences. If you have different departments on a single portal, you need to think about and involve those departments and not think for them. Maybe some people want to do things differently. You are talking to different audiences, and mostly, besides the IT department, maybe they're not technical. So think about it. If you're going to use slang or things that are really technically involved, technical terms, they might not understand what you mean, and you're not getting the right input that you're searching for. So really think about, and sometimes even maybe I use it a lot here, a term, use it in children's language. If you want to explain something, think about explaining it to little kids. Not saying that people are like little kids, but sometimes that's very easy language for people to understand. What is it about? What do you actually need from me? Yeah, and then I think we have another poll.
Sure do.
Yes, so who do you include when implementing Employee Center? Who do you think?
And this is something that I preach about a lot. I have a couple of blogs where I wrote some about this, because what I find is a lot of times people only want to include a small audience, or management and IT, and they don't always get the full picture of what's going on, because unfortunately a lot of times managers know how things are supposed to work, but not how they are actually working.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we got an overwhelming response for including management, business teams, and end users. So good job, everybody there.
Yeah, exactly the right answer, because like Britta mentioned, sometimes management thinks that they know how the business works, but they also think about how they want it to work. But it not might actually be how it works. Maybe it did that a year ago. They're not up to date with the most recent information. So yes, of course, management needs to be included because they have some demands on how things need to look like. But especially involve the business teams, the dedicated teams of the departments that you want to have and have on the employee center. They need to think about what do they want to show to the employee, which services do they want to offer on the employee center, which knowledge articles do they want to show in each specific topic or subtopic. They need to think about it because they are the ones that work with it every day. They know the pain points. They know exactly how they want things to look like to be able to solve those pain points as well. And of course, end users, the employees. How do you as an employee want to work? What would be your ideal situation? Not saying that it's gonna be implemented like that, but you need to consider it at least. Take all the requirements and the action points from all these teams together, and then you will be able to provide the best employee experience that you get with Employee Center Pro. You might not be able to satisfy all these people, but at least the majority of them, because you took those requirements into account and really you thought about it as well.
Exactly. And we are a little over time and people are starting to drop off here. So I think we'll just need to, can you kind of try to
Wrap it up.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
We had so much information to share today.
Yeah, it's something that it's really overwhelming sometimes. I would just go quickly through the last 3 slides. So who do you need? Of course, you need some platform owners, process owners, project managers to guide them, business analysts to liaison with the business, of course, to get the requirements, the technical resources, and of course some UI and UX designers, because yeah, you're creating a portal. You need to do it based on your company's look and feel as well, and your style sheets. So they might be the best people to involve. How do you start with this journey? Of course, identify the employee experience or the vision within your company. That's the most important. Connect with your leadership to discuss the values and maybe the investment that is needed to implement Employee Center. Define the experience that you want to create or that your company wants to create. Create a governance on ServiceNow and other platforms that you have within your company. And of course, identify the technical implications as well. There might be some, so you need to think about that before you start, actually also to make sure that you have the right timeline. So as a recap, stay out of the box, talk with your business and with your users, keep it simple, use the strengths of the platform and take your time. Don't rush into an implementation. Really take your time to make sure you do the right thing.
So true.
And I think that's
Everybody wants it faster, but I find that when you rush things, you end up spending more time later trying to fix it or make it right. So
absolutely, yes.
So we are at time. There are a couple folks on. If there are any burning questions, if you want to throw those in the Q&A, otherwise you can feel free to reach out to me after the session. And like I said, the session and the recording and the deck will be posted and you'll get a link provided to that. And also there's some resources that Bessel has linked here in the deck that you'll get at PopUp. So thank you all for coming today and holding on. There is a survey that'll go out immediately after this, so please let us know how we did. And also, if you have any other topics that you are interested in seeing in the future, ask the experts. We always love to make sure that we're meeting your needs out here. So thanks again, everybody, for attending, and we'll see you next time.